It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show, Gabriel Reilich and Lucia Knell. Hello, how are you? Thank you both for coming on the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys are with Upworthy, is that correct?
Yep, we are with Upworthy.
And you've got
a company dedicated to sharing the best of humanity with the world.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, and we'll get into that in a little more detail in a second. You've got a book to promote, and this book is being published by National Geographic. The book is called Good People, Stories from the Best of Humanity. You both co-wrote this, correct?
Yeah, we served as the co-creators. There's a lot of writers in it.
Okay. I want to, if you don't mind, give us a little bit of the backstory of Upworthy, how it became to exist, and what is the purpose of it?
Sure. Upworthy has been around for over a decade and has existed in various forms. The mission has always been the same, which is to reach people with things we're sharing and to share the best of humanity with the world. And so we've always wanted to do that in whatever form that we could. And, we were huge in the Facebook days. It was known as the fastest growing media company of all time. And we reach people through our Instagram now and social media and Upworthy.com, and we're kind of basically trying to share counter-programming about humanity, share the stories about empathy, compassion, decency that bring us together instead of drive people apart.
Well, when I saw your social media stats, I was very pleasantly surprised because, hundreds of millions is fantastic. It's something that we all aspire to. But what I was surprised was that, or pleasantly surprised, was that it was because of your spotlight on the best of humanity rather than the worst. And I just want to read something real quick that's on your bio here, and maybe one or both of you can comment on it. It says, social media was originally designed to bring us closer together. Today it's becoming increasingly apparent that algorithms reward those who stoke outrage and anxiety, while moments of genuine good get swept into the digital ether. So you've taken that and have made it into hundreds of millions of followers,
Yeah, I think, there's a real hunger for stories that give you faith in the future and faith in people right now. As mentioned, it's been really easy for companies and organizations and people to grab people's attention with rage-baiting headlines, with fear-baiting headlines. The old adage, if it bleeds, it leads, I think applies to social media, tenfold as it did newspapers back in the day. But we've created this hub for stories that create a counterbalance to narratives that are super black and white, super divisive, because people need them. And so it's not just followers for us, it's the engagement with which we're seeing people interact with, likes, shares with folks that they love, comments, saves. And this book came about because of our comment section. They always say, don't read the comments. We read the comments on our page, which we lovingly refer to as the kindest comment section on the internet, because we see folks sharing stories of their own. And they're rooted in kindness and love and decency and genuine interest in constructive conversations about the world, about experiences, about emotions, about nostalgia. And it's a really beautiful and rare thing to see.
Well, I was going to ask you, why are we as a society so much more attracted to bad or sensationalized news rather than good or heartwarming? But you guys have kind of disrupted that notion, and I'm happy to hear it. There are, as many people out there, I think, that are looking for nice stories rather than the blood and guts.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit it can be a bit of a misconception that, something that's good or decent or speaks to, aspirational qualities can't also be dramatic and can't also be a good story, A lot of these are about people being lifted up at their lowest and someone being there when they needed it most. And it's about the truth of the human experience, which isn't all horrible and it isn't all great. It's, a mix of everything. And if you can speak to that, then it's honest and truthful, and that's really compelling. And so I think that, while it may be really easy to make people angry, and perhaps that's why, we see a lot of that online, is because it's the easiest thing to do. If I wanted to make your listeners angry right now, or you angry, I could probably do it very quickly. It's a little harder to try to, do and say things and share things that elevate individuals instead.
Well, it's interesting about social media because I can remember when Facebook first started and it was so innocuous with people just posting pictures of their cats. And, fast forward, 15 years, and now it's so powerful it was affecting presidential elections. And I don't think anybody would have thought that. I don't even think Mark Zuckerberg thought that he would be affecting presidential elections 15 years later when he first created it. I don't know. Maybe he did, but it certainly was surprising to me how powerful it got. Do you think it's a good thing that social media is being devoured as much as it is, or do you think people need to just sort of turn it off once in a while?
I'm going to answer this in a twofold way. One is, social media is a tool, and I think it can be used to impact people negatively. I think a lot of algorithms now or algorithms generally are built to capitalize on our dwindling attention spans. That's no joke at this point. So the more you click on things, the more algorithms are designed to serve you content that it thinks you'll click on more. That becomes dangerous when, in the case of political moments, for example, you start to only see things that you already believe in, which creates echo chambers, which creates silos politically, socially, culturally, etc. On the flip side of it, if you're savvy to how it can be used as a tool, it can be really wonderful. You can start to see things on your social media feeds that are based in your interests and hobbies. Genuine updates on friends, genuinely delightful or funny things that you share with friends. And so social media is here to stay. I think it's of wielding that responsibility and power in a way that is used to genuinely connect us in an age where we feel pretty divided at this point.
Do you think it's inhibiting people's ability, especially with younger people, with teenagers and children, inhibiting their abilities to interact with real people? In other words, face to face, not through a filter or through a screen?
I wish I could answer that question authoritatively as a very young person, but I think that some of the folks who suffer the most from interacting in real ways are some of the, the millennials, Gen Xers, people older. It's like, we're very involved in this stuff just as much as, younger generations. And, I even see, little kind of like sprouts of maybe like a swing against it. Like maybe, with Generation Alpha, they see us so addicted to our devices and social media that maybe it'll swing back the other way, and they'll want those more tactile experiences, those real world connections. I have a nephew who is like 14 years old, and he's become a baker and just makes stuff, and he doesn't even video it or share it on TikTok or anything. He just does it because it's a great way to experience the world and share something that he loves with people. And so I hope that the case is that there's more of a premium on real life connections and people with younger generations.
So let's get to the book, because I know we're kind of limited on time. So this was published by National Geographic. Has the book been released?
Yes, it came out September 3rd.
Okay. I see on the cover that it's already a New York Times bestseller. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
This is just a collection of stories, or tell us a little about the book, the content, and what it's like.
Yeah, so the book came about based in our comment section, really. Gabriel and I noticed that folks were not just reading the stories that we were posting, but they were actually sharing stories of their own in our comment section that were just these beautiful first-person, first-hand tales that we really wanted to know more about. What was frustrating, speaking of algorithms, is the nature of social media is that you sort of see something and then it's swept away pretty immediately. Our culture and social media is built on speed and rapidity. And so you sort of look at something for a few seconds and then it's gone. And we thought they deserved more. And so over the course of about a year plus, we started asking questions to our audience with a sense of purpose and intention to see what stories we could get. For example, what's the kindest thing a stranger ever did for you? Or what's the time someone lifted you up at your lowest? Or who's that teacher who changed your life? We were inundated with responses, thousands, and Gabriel and I read through every single one and picked out over, a few hundred of them that we thought could be expanded into short stories. And so we reached out to a ton of people, asked if we could, interview them, learn more about their stories, and those became the 101 stories in this book. The move from online to off was super intentional, exactly based on what we're just talking about, of giving people, something tactile to hold that is off the screen, but gives you the same sense of connection, of emotional resonance that you would online, but without the algorithms, without the blue screen, and really gives you this moment of contemplative pause and restorative calm that you wouldn't get on the internet. And it's just been wonderful to see it flourish.
How large of an organization are you?
For how many people we reach, which, like we said, is upwards of 100 million people a month, we're pretty small, but we're about like 20 people that work at our organization now.
Wow. So is this going to be an ongoing thing? Because I would assume there's probably going to be a lot of fodder out there for part 2, part 3, part 4. Are you going to keep going with the books?
Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, we could fill, dozens and dozens of books. So hopefully this is volume 1 of many. The stories, there's no shortage of stories in this place and supply. So hopefully, that is the intention. Yeah.
Well, I think our time is up at this point. So I want to thank you both for coming on. And again, the book is called Good People, Stories from the Best of Humanity. And it's from Upworthy. Last question, give out your website, please.
Yeah, the website is upworthy.com, and you can find us across all socials at Upworthy. And you know what? If you got a good story out there, or something you want to share, send us a DM or shoot us an email on our contact form, and we'd love to hear it and share it with the world.
Okay, great. Well, Gabriel and Lucia, thank you again for coming on the show. Best of luck with the book, and I hope to see more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.